locked in.
He's got it.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
I got it. You're good. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Before we get started, all of you will need your iPad out. If you don't have it out, get it out now. Miss Mitchell and I are going to go through this and talk about lots of stuff in a really fast pace. So we need you to keep up with us. Go ahead, Miss Mitchell.
Okay. So we're glad to have the opportunity to talk to you. We're in all classes, all English classes this week. Today we're in all freshman English classes because we're getting ready for registration with you. Okay. Now, if you get the freshman reminds for the class of 27, you should have known that we were coming. How many of you got a remind? Great. Okay. If you did not get that remind, if you're not signed up, you're going to notice that on this form that you're getting, there is, or that you've received, at CHS Grad 27, text that to 10 or 81010 so that you can start getting the reminds. Anything that you need to know, we are going to share with you, and we're going to make sure that you're on top of anything that changes. So please make sure that you're getting those reminds. Okay. Now, the handout that's coming to you is a list of dates that you need to be aware of, one of which is today, February 15th. And this is the day that we are in your English classrooms talking to you about selecting your sophomore year courses. And in fact, by the time you leave today, you will have chosen your coursework for sophomore year. You're going to hit submit and you're going to have chosen your courses. But don't worry, because you're going to have a full week to make edits. We're going to walk you through it and show you how to make your selections and how to make your edits. Tonight at 6 p.m., as you will notice on the form, there is a webinar that is intended for you and your parents because we want them to also understand how we're guiding you. We want them to understand why we're telling you to take the courses that we're telling you to take. And we want them to also start helping you think about life after graduation. So that webinar, which will be less than an hour, will help them understand the conversations we're having with you today. Now, like I just said, the form will close on February 22nd. Everybody sees that? So that's how long you have, a week from today, in which to make edits. So after the webinar tonight, you may go back and say, you know, I want to change that elective that I made in my English class today. That is okay. You can do it. March 5th is open house. That's a good time for you to go visit classes that you may want to take next year. So if you choose an elective or you choose the next level of something, go visit that class. See the projects they do. See the teacher who teaches the class so you can ask questions. That's a great opportunity for you to be aware of why are the courses that you've selected for the future. And then you're going to notice that March 18th through the 21st, those are dates that we're going to meet with you individually through your PE class. I'm realizing Lynch isn't on that list, but if you're in Lynch's PE class, you too will be seen. Don't worry. But does everybody notice where their PE teacher falls on what date? Everybody see that? Okay. That means that's a day that you're going to come through to see your counselor. We're going to probably be down there in one of the gyms. And you're going to come through, meet with us. I'm going to give you a copy of your transcript. We're going to talk about how you did first semester. And we're going to confirm what you've selected for next year. Okay, so even though the form closes on the 22nd, your counselor can still make an edit if we need to. If we say, hey, you chose this or you chose not to move on in a language, I think you should. Let's talk about why. All right? April 9th is NCAA Information Night on Zoom. So any student athletes who are thinking of playing at the college level, we're going to want you to log into that. What's not noted here is March 11th is going to be a scholarship night. So we're going to have a webinar put on by Sally Mae. They're going to talk to you all about how to start looking for scholarships. That's free money for college. Okay? All right, so let's hop to it. I want you all to be on your iPads at the CHS website.
So you should see this right now. If you're not here yet, Google search Claremont High School. It'll be the first link that pops up. You want to be on this website. Okay, I see most of you on this website already, which is fantastic. We're going to scroll down just a little bit here, and we're going to select the Counseling and Career Department. It's this one right here. It looks like two people talking across from the table from each other. Go ahead and click on that. That's going to take you to the Claremont High School Guidance Department website. Miss Mitchell did mention that webinar by Sally Mae. That's going to be right up here. The NCAA webinar will also be right up here. Okay, so that's where we keep those, and that's where you can find the links for that. Okay, we scroll down a little bit here, and we're going to focus in on this section here, your course selection part of the website. Now, can anybody tell me what class you are? Yes, what class are you? 2027. You ready? Coming in, lot. Oh, sorry, that was a bad throw. That was my fault. You are class of 2027, which means when we go here, you are picking class of 2027. Don't pick 2026. That's rising juniors. 2028 is rising freshmen. Trust me, you don't want to repeat freshman year. We're going to pick class of 2027. Go ahead and click on that now. And you're going to have Maybe. There it goes. You're going to have a pop-down menu that's going to give you lots of additional information. We mentioned the webinar tonight. Here is the link for the webinar. It's also down here. In addition to that, the webinar ID and passcode is also on here. So when you drag your parents to the webinar tonight, this is where you're going. Does that make sense? Good so far? Beautiful. We also have the dates up here. The February 22nd when the form closes, and also when we're seeing you through your PE classes. That's up here as well. Scrolling down a little bit further here, if you want to know what on earth your counselors are talking about tonight, the webinar slides are already posted online. You can see what we're talking about. Follow along with us if you want. Beneath that is the course selection form. Don't click it yet. We're going to get there in a second. Right below that is the grad and UC requirements. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I would encourage you to do the same. Okay. We have 3 different things we're going to talk about here. And yes, I have more candy. So we have column 1, your grad requirements. Somebody tell me, what are the grad requirements? Why are they important? What are grad requirements?
They're important. They're like stuff you need to get to college or like to get a scholarship.
Not quite. Grad requirements. What are grad requirements?
Graduate.
Things you need to pass with a D or better in order to, sorry, man, I was way off on that one. You okay? It's a good thing I don't play basketball. That's Mr. Anderson's job. Things you need to graduate. Think classes you must pass with a D or better to get a high school diploma. Good on that? Okay. What are the A through G requirements? Second column here. What are those? Anybody?
One right here.
Yes. So this is the Cal State UC entrance requirements. I'm going to hand it off so I don't hurt somebody. Okay? These are the Cal State and UC entrance requirements. These are the classes you need to take to be minimally eligible to apply to a four-year college. So Miss Mitchell and I and all the other counselors, you are considered college ready by us if you meet these requirements. Does that make sense? The last column here, NCAA requirements. What on earth is NCAA? Yes, sports. So these are the requirements you need to meet. Do you have one?
Yes.
Throw one at him. See, she's better than I am.
Thank you.
Right? I agree. Okay. These are the requirements you need to meet to be eligible to play Division I or II sports at the collegiate level. Now, we're not going to go through this in detail right now. That's tonight. Okay? I just want to give you an idea of where to look for this information and why this is important. When your counselor meets with you one-on-one, we're going to talk about these 3 things. And if you're an athlete, we're going to talk with you about meeting those NCAA requirements and what you should be taking to do that. And we will do that every year. So when you're a junior planning for your senior year, guess what? We're going to be talking about where you're at. Sophomore year planning for junior year, we're going to be talking about where you're at. This is a conversation we'll have multiple times over your time at Claremont High School. All right, go ahead and close that down. Let's get back to the counselor website. Which we got a lot open here. There we go. Okay. The next thing I want to cover here, course description book. I'm not going to open it because at least on my iPad, maybe not on yours, it takes a good 5 minutes to load. So I'm not going to open it. But the course description book is a very detailed catalog of all the courses at Claremont High School. So if you're wondering what on earth you do in sophomore English, that's where you want to go. Make sense? Okay. The next thing I do want to take a look at is the CHS electives catalog. So if you click on that, it's going to open up a new browser window. And this is a list of electives. You should have already seen this, right? This is a list of electives offered here at Claremont High School. I want to highlight one in particular that's brand new, and that is, where is it? Nope, that's the wrong one. Hold on.
You may want to be at the, is it CTE?
It's performing arts. I went to the wrong one. Man,
Before it,
there we
right
go.
there.
Performing arts down at the bottom. And it is dance. Dance is a new performing art we are offering next year. It is a fine art, not a PE. It is a fine art elective. That will be new to Claremont High School next year. Miss Mitchell has volunteered to teach that course next year.
No, I
So
have not.
I'm just kidding.
I like to dance, but I will not be teaching dance.
And it's definitely not me. I am white as can be. So thank you. You like that one? Yeah. Okay. But dance will be an option next year. Okay. So if that's something you're interested in, look at that. Some of the descriptions are not there yet. So you'll notice dance, there's no description yet. That's because it's a brand new course and the description hasn't been written yet. So it's not up here yet. Okay. But you can find out what you're doing in, for example, technical theater. Some of these courses, for example, if we go all the way down to our language, some of these courses have videos associated with them. So if you see a link like you do on French, you click on that, you're going to get a small video about the French program. Yearbook is supposed to have one, but somebody's been a slacker over here. Okay, so this is where you can find more information about courses. Make sense?
Mr. Trosh, can you go up? I want to just point out one thing that I've pointed out in other classes up to the not dual enrollment, Baldy View. How many students in here are currently in level 1 of a CTE course? So maybe mental and behavioral health, maybe you're in audio production, maybe you're in stage tech, maybe you're in, I don't think we have any sports medicine. Raise your hand if you are in. Okay, that's great. If you're in a level 1, right here, can I ask which class is it that you're in? Mental and behavioral health. Okay, somebody else was going to say something. Mental and behavioral health?
Audio production.
Audio production, perfect. Those are CTE or career technical education pathways. So what I'm reminding my freshmen is this: completing 2 years of either of those, audio production, mental and behavioral health, that is a pathway toward a certificate saying that, hey, you've learned a certain skill set that gives you certain employable skills. That's going to be great for your resume one day. Okay, when you write your resume, that's also going to earn you a stole at graduation. So if you've ever seen our graduation ceremony, everybody wears the same robe, but some students have different regalia that they wear, different cords and things like that. That is a pathway. That is to say, hey, I committed myself to 2 or more years in a certain academic course that's career-based, and that needs to be recognized. So again, when you're choosing an elective, I would highly encourage students who are in a level 1 to consider taking the level 2 next year. Okay.
I call it bling, so you get more bling during graduation. It just looks really cool. So if you're in that, I would strongly encourage you to continue. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to skip out of here. We're going to close that down. We are back to, oh, you have a lot of windows open. There we go. We are back to this page. Is everybody here with me now? We're going to jump into the course request form, and I want you to complete and follow along with me.
I'll emphasize that. When you see a form, the tendency is to say, I'm going to go ahead and answer these because they're blank. We're going to walk step by step. We promise we're going to get you through the whole thing, show you how to edit it, answer your questions about it, but we need to go step by step. Agreed?
So I'm going to click on course selection form, and when it opens, you should actually see this. Is everybody here? Show me bobbleheads, yes?
Some of you may be asked to log into your Google account.
Yep.
So let's give a second for that in case students have to log into their Google account.
All right, we're all here, hopefully. Finish logging into Google if you haven't done so. Don't jump too far ahead. I see some excited people. Just hang tight. Walk through it with us, okay? The first question we're going to ask you for is for your email address. Now, you will see Miss Mitchell is already signed in here, meaning her email address is already there. This is the CUSD one. Yours should show up just like this. This one down here, this should be something that you're actually checking. We want your email address, and I'm going to ask for your phone number. And here is the reason why. Over the summer, if I have a question for you about your schedule, I need to contact you, not mom and dad. I need to contact you and ask you that question. And so I'm going to want contact information that you're actually going to check. If you don't check CUSD email, put a different email address here, please. Okay, what was that? No, you're going to put your phone number further down. If you don't have a separate email, just put your CUSD one. That's fine. Okay. So we go down a little bit further here. Back, you got some more course selection resources. We talk about summer school very briefly. The Claremont High School summer school form is not yet available. Okay. We are waiting for district to approve some things before it is published. We are hoping to have it available end of this week, early next week. I don't have a date yet of when it's going to be available. Okay. For sure, at least this has been promised to us, it will be available before we meet with you guys individually. okay? So it'll be posted on the CHS website in the same spot as everything else, all the other resources. Moving down a little bit more, your ID number. So this is really important. I need you to put your ID number here, and it needs to be your actual student ID, CHS ID. Let me explain what happens, give you some kind of behind the scenes. This is a Google form. Once you fill out this form and February 22nd rolls around, okay, we will download this data. And using your ID number, we will match your account in Student Connect. Student Connect is what actually gives you classes. We will match your account and the course request will go over to Student Connect. If you have the wrong ID number here, you will not match. If you have the wrong ID number, you will not get course requests. If you do not get course requests, guess who gets to pick your classes? Me. And I may not pick what you want. Or Miss Mitchell, whoever your counselor is. That's who's going to pick it. Does that make sense, guys? So really important, make sure you have the correct ID number here. Move down a little bit further. We have our last name and our first name. I know this is something that might be complicated for you. Your last name is your last name. Your first name is your, guess what? First name. Okay, don't put your first name where it says last name and mix it up. I know, one of you in this room will do it. Trust me, okay? Please put your last name where it belongs. Here's what happens. Miss Mitchell, myself, all your counselors will get a printout of this. And if you put Nikki where Mitchell is, it's going to go to the wrong counselor. If it goes to the wrong counselor, your counselor's going to sit there going, I don't have any information. Well, I guess you're not coming to Claremont High School next year. No, I'm just kidding. Well, we will not be able to see what you requested, and we won't be able to have that conversation with you. Make sure you put your last name in the right spot. Everybody good with this? Questions? Let's keep moving. Phone number we talked about, you're going to enter that there. I'm going to skip that for now. If you have an IEP or a 504, you're going to select that. If you have no clue what I'm talking about, you don't have one, select none. Moving down to the next section here. I wish to prepare for the following. And you will notice you can select as many of these as you want. So in theory, you could select all of them. That's perfectly fine. Here's what this is used for. When Miss Mitchell, myself, and the other counselors meet with you one-on-one, we want to have a productive conversation with you. I want to talk about the A through G requirements. I want to talk about NCAA requirements if that's what you're planning. Make sense? And this just helps Miss Mitchell and I prepare to have that conversation with you.
And we will ask that every year. So you'll see it every year when you register because your plans might change. So again, it's not locking you into any one pathway. It's simply to say, these are the things that we want to make sure we talk about with you as you're moving into sophomore year.
Now, by selecting any one of these, it doesn't lock you into anything. For example, here, we have military as one of the ones up here. Okay, Miss Mitchell is not going to send your name to an Army recruiter because you selected that. She's not going to do that. None of us are going to do that. It's not just Miss Mitchell. None of us are going to do that. Okay, that's not the reason we have that. The reason we have that is just so we can have a good conversation with you. Make sense, guys? Okay, let's keep going. All right, if you play a sport at CHS, I want that written here, okay? So if you are playing, in this case, track, put that on there. If you participated in track in your freshman year, you're going to click yes here. This is the reason we want that information, okay? Some sports require a lot of pull-out time from sixth period. Do I have any athletes in this room? Do you miss this class a lot during season? So we as counselors would like to try and avoid that. Doesn't always work out, but if we can, we want to be able to try and avoid core classes to be in sixth period. Okay. Again, that does not always work out, but we do actually make an effort at that. And that's what that information is there for. Okay. All right, moving down a little bit further, we're going to talk about MYP. If you are in MYP or interested in being part of MYP, you would select yes there. If that's not something you're interested in, just select no. It's just a yes or no, simple thing. If you select yes, Ms. Gosnell, our MYP coordinator, will probably reach out to you and just talk with you about what you need to do to be part of MYP as a sophomore. Okay. Start time is next. Claremont High School, you have 2 start time options. You can start, question? Got pause.
Difference between the IB program and AP.
Let me answer that at the end. It's a little more complicated. So let me answer that one at the end. Okay. But I will get back to it, I promise you. Okay. Start times, you have a 7:25 a.m. start time or an 8:30 start time. It's just like this year. There is no difference there. So you can start early, you can start late. Okay. You're going to select which one you prefer. Now the question is going to come up. Somebody has it. Can I have 0 through 6? That's a possibility. We'll talk about that at the very end. Okay. If that's what you want, if you want a 0 through 6, select a 0 period start time here. Okay. All right. Now we get into the meat of this.
Okay. Do you need me to take over?
Nope, I got it. You want to do that part of it?
Yeah, I'm going to use this little small spot. I know it might be hard for you guys to see all of this, but you're making your selections here. I'm going to kind of take you into the counselor brain, okay? So when you are making your selections, just keep in mind what we're building is a 6-period day. So I'm going to write up here on the board what's going to mimic what you're selecting so that you can see how we're building your day. Doesn't mean it's going to be in the same order, but you'll see that we're going to come up with a 6-period day for you.
So your first selection to make is going to be in the area of social science. And you notice you have only one option, and that is world history. Guess what you're all taking as a sophomore? World history. Move down to the next one, and what do we have? We have sophomore English. Guess what you're all taking as a sophomore? Sophomore English. You guys see how this works? Select both of those. Move down a little bit further, and now we're in math, and now we have a lot of options here. So for math, you're going to take the next level of math. You're going to select the next level of math. If you're in integrated math 1A, you are going to integrate math 1B. If you're in integrated math 1, you're going to integrated math 2. Integrated math 2 to integrated math 3. If you're in 1-2 combo, maybe there's some in this room, you're going to 2-3 combo. If you're in integrated math 3, you have some options here. You could move up to AP pre-calculus or regular pre-calculus. Okay? Math makes sense? Okay.
Especially for students who are in higher level math, my recommendation is this, because some students are wondering, I'm thinking about an accelerated class, I'm thinking about doing something that's a little more advanced. I'm not sure if I should. Who's a good person for you to converse with about that?
Counselor's a good choice. Who else said that?
I heard it.
Math teacher.
Yeah.
Yep.
They know how hard you work. They know what the sequence is for the next level. They know the skills that you're going to take to that, or the skills where you may have some gaps. So again, that's a really good person over the next week, because remember, you've got a week to do this form to converse with as you're making your selections. So make your best selection now, because you can always go back and edit.
So I'm in integrated math 2, and I want to move on to integrated math 3. That's my next selection. So I'm going to move down a little bit further, and we're going to talk about science. Science, you have 3 options to pick from. You have physical science, next gen bio, and next gen chem. If you are in next gen bio right now, and I am 1, and you're doing well, you should be going on to chem. Most of you should be going on to chem. If you're in physical science right now, you're going to go on to bio. If you're in biology right now, and you're struggling in integrated math 1, you should be looking at physical science next year. Does that make sense? So, bio, doing well, go to chem. Bio, struggling in math, go to physical science. Physical science, you're going to bio regardless. Does that make sense? Any questions on science?
You all know that you need how many years of science to graduate? It'd be great if you took 4, but you only need 2 to graduate. 1 year of life, 1 year of physical. So that's why there's the physical science and the biological science as the offerings. Okay. All
right, let's jump to world language. So world language is pretty simple. Okay. If you're in level 1, you're going to level 2. If you're in level 2, you're going to level 3. Anybody in a 3rd year of the world language level 3? Spanish 3, French 3, German 3? Right now? Nobody? Okay. If you're in level 2, raise your hand. A level 2 world language. Okay, if you're in a level 2 world language and you're doing really well, you got an A in that class, consider doing the honors level 3. It is a weighted class. It is rigorous, but it is an advanced class where you can accelerate a little bit. Okay. If you're in level 2 and you got a B, go straight to the regular level 3, trust me. Okay? Make sense so far? Question, yes.
I don't know my phone number.
That's okay. That's okay. For now, put whatever you want in there just to fill it in, and you can come back and fix it later.
One
Okay.
quick thing I want to interject here just so you guys understand. How many years of a language do you need to graduate? Listen carefully to the question. How many years of language do you need to graduate from Claremont High School? Oh, I think somebody, is that, do you have a 0? Is that what you're showing me? Or are you showing me 3? You're showing me 3. I don't see it yet. Are you showing me 0? You're right. You're right. Now, I applaud everybody who's taking a language. I'd love to see you take 3 or 4 years. You don't have to have a language to graduate. Okay, remember we showed you that column? There are 3 different lanes that you can be in. Everybody needs to graduate. Most of you, we hope, are going to be in that lane also to stay with your A through G college entrance requirements. That's why you need a language. So not only to expand your, just knowledge base, language is a requirement for 4-year college-bound students. 2 years minimum, 3 are recommended, and 4 for highly selective schools and for IB diploma. But to graduate, you simply need to have a year of a language or a year of an art or a year of a CTE, like we talked about audio production, mental and behavioral health. So there are many ways to meet that requirement if you don't actually take a language, but we encourage you to take a language and continue on with that language. But I point that out because if there's a student who's not going to take a language for a reason, there are sometimes reasons why you don't move on in a language, then you could select, I do not wish to take a world language in the sophomore year, okay?
If you do that, when you click next, I won't do it right now, but when you click next, you will be asked to give 2 additional elective choices, okay? So we're going to go ahead and click, I think you said French 2 is what you had, so I'm going to click French 2 up there.
I put Spanish on the board, but that's okay.
Oh, you put Spanish? Let's put
Yeah.
Spanish 2. Let's see, where's Spanish 2? There it is, Spanish 2, okay? So I pick Spanish 2, and I click next right here. And now I'm at physical education. So there is some change. Does anybody have an older sibling that's gone through Claremont High School?
Or is currently at Claremont High
Because
School?
it's different for you. So, yeah, it's changed. Here's the part that's not so much fun. You must be continuously enrolled in physical education until you earn 20 credits of physical education. What does that mean? That means until you've completed 20 credits, you will be taking a PE course. Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, this is a requirement from the state. This is not Mrs. Mitchell being mean. This is the requirement that we have to follow. So there's a couple ways we can look at doing this one. The first one is by picking a PE class.
Also,
Claremont,
everybody has to select this.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
saying you understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody needs to click that. Yes, you understand that you have to be enrolled in PE.
Okay, you have 4 options for PE. You have team sports. This is specifically for our athletes on campus. Explain that in a second. You have bodybuilding, you have badminton, you have volleyball. If you are an athlete, a CIF athlete, so you participate in a CHS-sponsored sport, this is an option for you, team sports. This will be a 6th period class, so it will be in 6th period. You would take PE as your PE elective, okay? And this is an opportunity for coaches to start practice early. So you will focus in this class on physical conditioning, okay? And if your coach participates, they can pull you and whoever else is in that class with you out of that class and start practice early. You get credits for that, okay? Each one of these classes are full year classes and take up a spot right here in your schedule. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's take a look at this for a second. Miss Mitchell, how many classes do I have right now?
6.
6. Anybody in here in choir, theater, band, Avid, yearbook? Okay.
Thinking of ASB?
What do you not see up here? Okay. This is the difficult part. PE does take up a spot. However, there are ways to take care of that PE requirement so that you can erase it from that board and get your elective in. And I want to talk about what those are right now. Okay. You have 4 options here. You must pick one of these 4. Option 1 is, I'm going to take PE next year. I'm going to take that badminton class. It's going to be part of my day. That's option 1. Option 2, give me a minute, okay? Option 2, I'm going to take PE over the summer. So I'm going to take a PE class during summer school to take care of that so that I can erase badminton and put an elective. That's option 2. Option 3, I am going to take PE next year online. We have offered online PE this year. We are slated to offer it next year during the school year. That would again erase badminton off of your day schedule and add a PE into the evening. Okay? That evening it's asynchronous. You can work at it on your own pace. Okay? Option 4, I want to roll in 7 periods, start at 7:25 a.m. and end at 3:30. That is option 4. Okay? So this is the way to get that band, that theater, that choir, that extra elective back into your schedule. Does that make sense, guys? You have to pick one of these 4 things. If you're like, no, I'm okay taking badminton or bodybuilding or volleyball next year, select that first one. That's great. That's perfectly fine. Okay? If you select the first one, you're actually done. You're going to go to the submissions page. If you select any one of the other 3, it's going to take you to pick more electives, which I'm going to show you in a second.
Okay, Mr. Trosh, one other thing that came up in my last period, and it's come up again here. How many students took PE last summer? There are some students who did take PE last summer before your freshman year. Okay, so in that case, because you do still have to make a selection, I'm going to suggest that you go ahead and plan on completing it this summer. And we're going to see when we meet with you, when your counselor meets, we're going to be able to see, oh, you've already met that requirement. So go ahead and select that because I want you to have the option that's going to come next.
So here's the deal. Once you hit the 20, it's checked off and you're no longer required to be in PE. You have to hit the 20. That's the magic
20
number.
credits.
Okay. Question in the back.
So I'm in sport, and that is like PE credits, right?
You're earning 2.5 credits per season of sport you play. That is correct.
So if I have 2 PE, like 2 PE semesters this year and 2 sports,
Guys?
I'd have 15, and in the first semester, then I just wipe out the 20 PE credits, and then what do I do for the rest of the year?
Theoretically, you would be able to drop that PE class. I will tell you that's not a guarantee. That would be ideal in that situation. If you are on the online PE, that would make the most sense, and that would be the easiest to drop. So I would suggest doing online if I were you.
So to reiterate that, even if you only need 5 PE credits next year, realize that it may not be possible for your counselor at the semester to drop you from your PE and put you in another elective.
Yep.
You would be in it for the year. It doesn't go to waste because you would still get credit for it, but you would just have additional PE credits. Okay.
We had a question here and then up here. Go ahead, sir.
I was gonna say, if you do PE over the summer, what would you have like an example of what we would do?
So if you take PE over the summer, that is an online as of right now. That's my understanding is it's online over the summer. I don't know exactly how the PE department is running it this summer. In past, you would check in, you would do a PE activity, you would log it, and there's an actual written component to the class as well. Okay. Again, I don't know specifically how the PE department is doing it this summer, but that's what it has been in the past. Okay. Question?
My sport is like all year with that.
Is it dance or is color guard? So color guard only earns PE credits for band camp. That's it. Because you're earning fine art credits for the actual class. It's not a PE class. Okay. I know this gets complicated. I'm sorry. I know this is a challenge.
But you do have options. So again, we've talked about summer school. We've talked about the online option. Any other questions about PE? The last question that it does ask you is if you selected team sports, if you're the athlete who's going to be taking that 6th period, we simply need to know what athletic team you currently participate in or plan to participate in next year. Okay.
So I've selected this one, which means I am going to be able to pick electives because I'm doing it over the summer, which means guess what? Badminton goes away. You guys get that? Because I'm doing it over the summer. And now I get to pick elective options. So I have my elective options up here, and I have chosen Introduction to Mental and Behavioral Health as number 1. That's an ROP class. Great choice because, again, you work towards that fancy stole. You have down here Chamber Singers, an awesome choice because Dr. Wilson is the best ever. Okay. And do we have yearbook? No, we're not doing yearbook. It's not on this one, sorry. Okay. So in this situation, we've made our 3 elective choices. Now, here's what's good. Miss Mitchell has made 3 elective choices that are all different. I do not want to see Introduction to Mental Behavioral Health, Introduction to Mental Behavioral Health, and Introduction to Mental Behavioral Health. They need to be unique. It means different. Every one of those choices has to be different. Make sense? Okay. We also have up here Chamber Singers, which is an audition class. That I means you have to audition for that class. Same with yearbook. Okay. If you make Chamber Singers and you're on Dr. Wilson's list, guess what we're going to do to your other electives? We're going to delete them because we assume if you audition for it, you really want it, and we're going to put you into that class. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. So those of you who are in AVID, that are in band, that are in theater, that are in choir, that you have actually put time in to be in those classes, we will make sure, as long as we can, that we will put you in those classes next year. Okay? Good so far? Any questions on electives right now?
And you see that we have built a 6-period day, either with PE or mental and behavioral health or any other elective that you chose. Okay?
Okay.
The next thing you're going to do is click next.
And now we're on the last page. Okay. This last page, there's 2 things to focus on here. The first one here is a place for you to give us any additional information. This would be the place to say, hey, I'm taking summer school for chem and I want to go into AP Bio. Or, hey, I did PE before my freshman year. Can I make sure I'm good for PE? This is a great place to tell us any additional information that you didn't put in later. Hey, Mr. Trosh, I want to do 7 periods because I'm in jazz band and marching band. This is the place I want to hear all that extra information. Does that make sense?
Some of you won't have anything additional to
Yep.
say, and that's okay. Okay, there are unique situations where you do need to tell us, but don't feel that you have to. There's no asterisk. You don't have to put anything there. But if there is something that we need to understand a little bit better, your counselor will see it ahead of time before we meet with you in your PE class. That's why we want that, okay? That's not a spot for teacher requests. Those aren't the kinds of things that we control. We're not going to be putting you in classes based on the teacher, okay? But this is those nuanced things that we've already talked about.
There is not a way in the system for us to put teacher requests in. It does not exist. So it doesn't matter what you put in there. It will be ignored if you're at requesting teachers. That make sense? Okay. Next thing down here, just a quick information for you to read. But the important thing here is it says we, student, and who? Parent. Understand this. That means you should be sharing this with your parent. In fact, you're going to hit submit in a second. When you go home, I want you to open it back up and walk through this with your parent to show them what you've chosen for next year. Does that make sense? P.S. We will tell your parents that you're supposed to do that tonight on the webinar. Get it? Make sure you're talking with your parents about this. Go ahead and hit submit right now. And you should see this form right here. This tells you you have done the form. You're done with it. Okay. Now, I told you earlier, go ahead and close this down, go back to the main page. I told you earlier that you have some time to edit. Who can tell me the deadline to edit this? Someone I haven't talked to, back in the corner way over there. 1 week. What's the date? I'll give that one to you. Somebody else. What's the actual date? Yes, hon. What is it? February 22nd at 11:59 p.m. and 59 seconds. This form will close. You got it there? And you can no longer make changes. So how do you make changes? You go home tonight and decide, man, I want to change that French 2 class to Spanish 1. I don't know. How do you make changes? If you click right here on the course selection form.
Everybody do that so you can see how you go back to find your form.
You will see this. It's the same screen you got when you hit submit. click on edit your response, and you're right back at the beginning. So let's go down there. We had, I think, French 2, or is it Spanish 2?
I think it's Spanish too.
Okay, let's go down there. Let's change it to French because, I don't know, just for the fun of it.
You wouldn't typically do that because your counselor would want you to stay in Spanish,
Right.
but for the sake of this, you will see we're going to change it to French.
Make
1.
the French. Now, I've made the change in the system, right? No. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. Click next. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. Click next. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. Click next. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. Hit submit. It's not until you hit submit and you see this screen that your changes have been saved. You can change this as many times as you want. Talk with your friends. Talk with your teachers. Figure out what you want to take. Make any changes on here by February 22nd at 11:59 and 59 seconds p.m. Make sense? Good with this? Awesome. Any questions? Yes. So the difference between IB and AP. So you're going to get more into this into your junior year when you're selecting courses for junior, actually sophomore year when you're selecting for your junior year. AP and IB are both similar in the fact that they're college level courses. They're considered highly rigorous by all colleges. So they're viewed the same in terms of how difficult they are. AP classes, generally speaking, have more writing in them. Okay, so when you are preparing for I said it backwards. AP classes are more of memorization and acquiring knowledge. So AP tests, they are more multiple choice. Your IB classes are seeking more of a depth of knowledge and more written communication. When you take an IB test, they're all essay tests. So the difference between the two is the format of class that you like. If you're a great writer, IB is a really good option for you because you're going to do a ton of writing. If you're the person who can read a book and memorize all of it quickly, AP is probably a better choice for you because that's a lot of what you're doing is memorization. Does that make sense? Now, there is memorization for IB and there is writing in AP. They're not exclusive, okay? But that's kind of the weighting between those two courses, okay? Again, both of those are highly rigorous courses. At the end of each one of those courses, you have the option to take an exam and earn college credit for them, okay? With AP, you can pick and choose classes. You can even pick and choose some IB classes. If you're a full diploma candidate in the IB program, you will take 6 IB courses, 3 what we call higher level and 3 standard level. Higher level means it's a 2-year course. Standard level means it's a 1-year course. That's the difference between those designations, okay? And again, we're going to talk a great deal about this in your sophomore year. There will be meetings galore to talk about this. We're going to talk about it in webinars. We're going to talk about it in the classroom. So there's a lot of conversation that happens in the sophomore year. For now, to think about it this way, think about where your strength areas are. Is your strength area in writing? IB might be a good choice for you. Is your strength area in memorization? AP might be a good choice for you. Does that make sense?
Both courses are weighted. That means you get the extra point on your grade point average. So an A and an AP and an IB class would both be equal to 5 points. A B would be equal to 4 points. A C would be equal to 3 points. So A, B, and C are all weighted grades in both AP and IB courses. And just so you know, as a rising sophomore, IB coursework isn't really open to you until your junior year.
Yes.
So sophomores will not be taking any IB coursework because it really doesn't count for the IB program until your junior year. There are some sophomores who can take an AP class. For example, if you did chemistry in the summer, some students then might take an AP science course in their sophomore year. Okay.
Great question. Good? Perfect. Additional questions. Anybody else have questions for us? No? Yes, sir. If I do the MYP program, can I still take AP classes? Yes. So if you were doing MYP and you jump ahead, let's say in chemistry, you do that over the summer, you can take AP Chem and be MYP as well. They're not exclusive. Does that answer the question? Good choice. Good question. Anybody else? Yes. Yes. So any source, once you take chemistry and biology, any one of our science courses are open to you with the exception of physics because you have to have a math requirement as well. So that's the only one that may not be open to you.
And that's a good example of what you would put in that additional comments.
Yep.
So you would say, because you had to select chemistry. We made you select chemistry, right? But then you would say, my plan is to take chemistry in the summer so that I can take, what did you say, marine bio?
Marine bio.
Next year. Okay.
Other questions? Okay, I have one more question for you. So I need one more little treat. If you have a question and you need to see your counselor, you're like, I don't know what I should do, and I want to talk with one of the counselors. What time can you come see your counselor? Raise your hand for me. When can you see your counselor?
Anytime.
No. When can you see your counselor?
Anytime. We're in classrooms.
Would love to be anytime,
it would be
but it's
great,
not
but we're in
the
classrooms,
possibility.
so they couldn't see us right
Who
now.
haven't I picked on yet? I picked on you? At lunchtime. So, counselors. Counselors
That's right.
are available at lunchtime to meet with students. Okay, we are jam-packed all year long, especially right now. We're in classrooms or we're meeting with students literally every single period until the end of March. That is not a joke. We are jam-packed every single period until the end of March meeting with students because I'm meeting with you in third period on this day. I can't be in my office to meet with just anybody because I'm meeting with my students in third period. Does that make sense? Okay. So we are jam-packed all the way through the end of March. We will see 3,000 students by the end of March. That's how busy we are.
Because remember where we were this time last year? Visiting with you? Where?
Roble. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So what that means is we have a limited time to be able to see students, but we don't take lunches. So during your lunchtime, we as counselors have it blocked out on our calendar. If you looked at our calendars, you will see it says no appointments because that is our time to be with you. And we protect that time so you can come in and ask us questions. Does that make sense? Okay. Tomorrow, as an example, I actually will be gone during lunch. I have something else I have to take care of, so I will not be here. Okay. If I'm not here and you're on my caseload, your last name's A through CHAT. If I'm not there and you come in, do you know who's going to see you? One of my amazing colleagues, Miss Mitchell, Miss Vogel, Miss Aber, Miss Cizik, Mr. Anderson. One of them will see you because we take care of all of our kids. Okay. You have a question, you don't only have to talk with me. Miss Mitchell can absolutely help you. And
Especially
vice versa.
This time of year, because a lot of your questions are kind of universal. Yep. They're not specific to a certain circumstance. So if it's something that Mr. Troche really needs to know about, I can at least talk to you and say, you know what, I'm going to let Mr. Troche know you should probably come back and see him, or he may call you in. Yep. But many times students have questions about, if I'm in this class, what comes next? Or I didn't understand this on the website. Any one of us can help you with those kinds of questions. Okay?
Any other questions for us? No?